PND Ketchup, my brother from another mother. I'm going to get right into this and say how hype I am, but I also want to pause for just a single moment to understand how in the hell you're in two places at once, because you're doing Quake Pro League right now. Is that correct?
Yes. So as of right now, I'm currently commentating the Quake Pro League. Also, I know there's a reflection on my glasses in green screen. You'll be able to see my eyes through the void, apparently. I'll try and keep that to a minimum. But for scheduling reasons and everything else, this show that you're about to watch has been pre-recorded a few days prior to Quakecon at home. That said, it is my absolute honor to welcome every single one of you to the Battle Mode Friday Night Fights Invitational Finals, which is being done as part of Quakecon at home. My name is Ketchup, and I'm with Tokyo Punch-Out, as always. And it's been a really extended but exciting community project for Friday Night Fights. And I think for those that are unaware, maybe you're here for the first time, or you've never seen Battle Mode in a high level, Tokyo, run us through what today's all about.
Absolutely. So first of all, if you're here for the first time, welcome. You're in the right place. We're glad you're here. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. So what you're watching is Doom Eternal, best FPS ever made. There, I said it. Has a very special, very unique, very cool id Software designed mode that's multiplayer called Battle Mode, where it is one fully kitted out Slayer that's all the all of the traversal with double dash, with meat hook, with all of the arsenal. You've got frags, you've got everything you could want, glory kills, chainsaw, all of it, versus two player-controlled demons. Now, the very spicy, very interesting part of these player-controlled demons, Ketchup, is these aren't just any demons. You're not just like running around as an imp or a shotgun soldier. Am I right?
No. So there are specific demons that the player gets to control. They've got their own set of attacks and kind of abilities that they can use in the middle of a match. But also you get summons, so you can summon AI demons to help you out. Definitely a team effort required to win at a really high level. And it is the eternal, no pun intended, I guess, strategy versus skill, which is pushed in battle mode, where the demons have to be very calculated and they have to be careful. And the Slayer has to be good enough really to juggle all of the weapons, all of the ammo, and making sure you can actually hit those important shots versus player-controlled demons, which are definitely harder to hit than the standard AI. Now, what has the Invitational been? So the Friday Night Fights was originally a weekly collection of just prominent community members that wanted to play at a high level and showcase their gameplay and enthusiasm for the game for the general Doom Eternal community. And it was a weekly Friday night show, even though it's going to be broadcast on Saturday. I know there's a little bit of a thing there, don't worry, well aware. But essentially the weekly matches were just an opportunity to show people what the game mode can do at this level of play. And then we got thinking, with QuakeCon at home, around the corner, what if we turn it into something that's a bit more of a competitive experience? And that is what led us to invite some of the absolute best battle mode players from a Slayer side and a Demon side, all in one collective place. And they played round robin over the course of 7 weeks. Everyone fights everyone. And then by the end of it, we find out who is the most dominant set of demons and who is the most dominant Slayer. And trust me when I say the gameplay that you're about to see is, I'm going to go out there and say it is the highest level battle mode you would have seen so far. Guarantee.
100p. And as a perfect setup for that, as you just did, this has been 7 weeks. So if you're just joining us now, like, congratulations. First of all, go back and watch all the VODs, because you have 7 weeks of the sweatiest, juiciest, most juiciest juicers that ever lived the land that are playing and sweating in battle mode and just giving us our life, because the entertainment value is off the roof. I'm going to show everybody now, just for a second. This is the leaderboard. So this is what got us from zero to hero. So it's been 7 weeks of everybody going toe-to-toe. This is the most fair way to do it. As you know, in a tournament structure, the best way to do it is everybody plays everybody. There's no Salt, there's no Johns, that's it. So there's no doubting that now when you look at the top of the list, I'm just going to call him Zan because nobody calls him by his full name, and by God, I'm not going to do it now. In first place with 61 rounds won and only 9 lost. Again, in a single match, there's a possibility of only 5 rounds max. So you got to think that only 9 were dropped. That's a total of potentially 3 maps. That is almost nothing. And on the other side, Kroniid Conjugates, these two absolute legends, just writing the manuals on how to do when you demon, only dropped 18 rounds and won 58. And again, Ketchup, we'll talk about this more as we go on, but There's been a lot of different balance updates. id Software is super on top and super creative about basically paying as much attention as possible and trying to balance and rebalance the game as many times as it takes until the ultimate player experience is achieved. So of course, these guys have gone through all the bumps, all the bruises to get to here and look at the dominance catch up.
And before we get into these set of games with Kroniid Conjugates of the Demons and Zanarathaz as the Slayer,
ooh, full name
once before we go into Zan for the rest of the stream, I do really want to give a huge shout outs to every single player that was involved in this invitational. Everyone really grabbed this opportunity with both hands, gave us their 100% all every single step of the way. It was a pleasure having all of them as a part of this, and all leading up to an exciting finals that I'm really excited for the wonderful people at home to check out, the community and otherwise.
As am I. So before we get crazy into what will be a best of 5 with the best of the best, Zan versus Kroniid Conjugates, let's give a couple quick shout outs to the reason for the season, as it were. During Quakecon at home, we are very proud to support the following charities, which you can donate to just by doing !donate in Twitch chat right now. Ketchup, did you have another little blurb that you might want to just drop in the hat on this one?
I'm just working with a collection of charities, every single one of them going towards a incredibly good cause. And if you want to get involved yourself and contribute towards all of these causes, it is a simple matter of doing !donate in chat, and it gives you all the information that you need. If you can donate, it is massively appreciated, and it will go towards a very good cause, as I've said already. And if you can't donate, that's fine too. We simply ask that you spread the good word.
We do indeed. We do indeed. We are so close to getting into the best of 5, the best of the best, the Friday Night Fights Invitational Finals. But I don't know if you noticed there's a little difference behind me. And I'm not talking about Torment, the gorgeous new id design map, but I'm talking about this beauty that I'll just get out of the way of so I can show you Ketchup for the first time ever here on stream. Dat Hero Series Doom Edition Noble chairs.
Really badly. I really want one of those.
I've never understood chair lust or gamer chair lust, especially until now.
No, but look at it. This is the moment. This is the moment that changes Tokyo.
And it's like the level of detail these guys put in there is absolutely insane. Like everything you see, you'd think, oh, okay, that's a cool back. Is it like screen printed? Is it just like painted on? Embroidery. I'm going to keep saying embroidery until I can't say it right because that's how psyched I am for it. But again, just a thing that you know now that you can just go out and get because the internet exists. And if you're a huge fan of Doom like we are, you got to have it all. You got to have it all. But speaking of have it all, we have it all here now, Ketchup. It is time, finally, to get into the Friday Night Fights finals of the Invitational. Are you ready, Ketchup?
Yes, I am. And again, for the sake of there being any potential new viewers, the way these matches are constructed is our players record their matches ahead of time. They then send the matches forwards, and then each point of view is kind of chopped together to create a spectator experience. So there's a lot more preparation going into it than you would normally expect when it comes to spectating competitive matches, but the end result is pretty much the exact same thing from a viewer's perspective. So we hope you enjoy the matches. The players gave it 100% of their all every step of the way. They do play a best of 5, which has the potential to go all the distance and for us to get an absolute ton of games. So when you're ready to go, I'm ready to get started.
I know. I feel like I'm literally buzzing like a fridge right now because this is what it's all built up to since we started this together, Ketchup.
4 months, Tokyo. 4 months of Friday Night Fights.
Of doing these to get to this point where we've had the best of the best go at it. And without further ado, here they are in match 1.
So our first map is going to be Armageddon. Now, Armageddon is absolutely a map that has changed quite a lot if we're talking about the general meta. It's very favorable now that demons like to kind of set up shop near Blue Teleporter. You get lots of cover. You need to be defensive against a Slayer that is just hitting crazy shots against you. And that room kind of really limits the Slayer's options to just poke you down with the Precision Bolt, the Ballista. And comp-wise, it's interesting because it's Archvile and Revenant. One of the most lethal combos in the game because the Archvile can set up and the Revenant can finish.
Exactly. The Archvile has got basically the only demon and the only character in this game that has actual teleportation, where he can look at a spot and poof, he's there, but also has amazing defensive setups. With, first of all, 2 Cacos coming out. You might wonder, how the hell did these 2 Cacodemons get in here? That is part of the kit that these 2 demons pick to spawn in. There's a lot of offense coming out already. As you see that blue volume pop, that is a demon healing volume, which didn't work enough for Conjugates because he's already out right now. If his teammate can stay alive for a little bit longer, he's going to get spawned back in because that's how battle mode be. But right now, Zan's just taking his time, just sort of like taking a little tour of Armageddon here, seeing what kind of hellscapes there are to see, Ketchup.
Now, Zan has some of the most lethal quick switches you can possibly imagine, especially with how quickly he swaps between Precision Bolt and a bunch of his other weapons. But then you weigh up versus Conjugates and Kroniid. They are incredibly wise demons. Real scientists of the game. They create these unusual comps. Every map, they have their own separate strategies, and there really is no strat they haven't tried at least once in a competitive setting. But in this position, Zan's doing a great job of just not really keeping them separated, but just chipping them down. And as you'll notice now, the heal, it's going to be back in about 5 seconds, but they can't really do it safely. There's going to be too much splash. And just like that, meat hooks, super important to get in without having to use dash. If you dash in, he's going to get one of the demons. But what I was going to say is that if you dash into that room, you have no backup plan for a missile barrage the Revenant's going to do. But if you meat hook in there, he can't react.
That, what you just saw right there, was absolute perfection. Zan looked at that firewall and he said, you know what I'll use with that firewall? I'll use a ballista boost, which is almost like a rocket jump if you're familiar with Quake, boosting himself right back in to where Kroniid was ending up and ended the round in the favor of the Slayer. Dash coming out as an end of round upgrade for Slayer, no real, no real craziness there, but Tactician and Broiling Heat, again, demons getting stronger, having their abilities last longer and come up more frequently. You will see a lot of this tonight.
Absolutely. And for the Revenant, it's really important that the Revenant gets those action skills as fast as possible. It gives you that survivability. It gives you the ability to push if need be. You're noticing here Zan trying to start things off by being hyper-aggressive on the Revenant, but those Cacodemons having other plans because the demon players summon the Cacos as a barrier. Those summons are so important to shut down an aggressive Slayer. And just like that, Zan almost completely out of armor if it wasn't for that one. That's going to be a free ballista shot, on the Cacodemon. Takes it out for free. One-stop shop to just get rid of it. But the important thing for Zan here is to really eliminate the Revenant problem. He knows that Conjugates is the source of damage, and that is why Revenant really, as far as Zan is concerned, is public enemy #1.
Exactly. And the Revenant is built just as you see him, as a glass cannon, or bone cannon, if you will, because he can deal such massive damage with his rocket barrage. But as you'll see, if Zan starts to, wait a second, he's hitting almost everything. He's on the chase. And actually, he's already set up on the other side. Kroniid is setting up. Will the Firelight come out? And it does. It does some damage. Does he have Noxious? Let's see what he's going to... Oh, no. The setup of that rocket barrage could have been it, but he's still alive, and he is still slaying right now. Getting his HP up, doing the glory kills, getting that. You're going to see the loot block again.
Oh, the
demon.
wall. Let's go.
No, my God. And they did all that inside of a healing volume, Ketchup, because you know why? Because they saved some of that strat for later. They set it up ahead of time because these guys are scientists.
That's what setup looks like. It's the importance of the Archvile being able to create that wall and then the Revenant to finish the job. The Cacodemon was just a bonus. Now, speaking of bonuses, you have the Master Carve, so you've got more of the chainsaws. Ammo's really important. Also, getting rid of that loot block. Then buff minions to make your Cacodemons more powerful. And the Tactician from the Archvile. I mean, utility really is how you survive against a Slayer. So, very
100%.
common upgrades. Buff minions definitely becoming more common now than it used to be. Now the AI is a little bit better than it was. And the netcode changes with those summons coming out quicker than they used to, really shifting that meta for buff minions.
Yeah, the Eye and Intelligence definitely got a buff around update 2. And when you add some buff minions on top of that, when that strike comes, it's going to feel like a third demon player, which is exactly what you're one if you're Kroniid and Conjugates. But wait a second, he's trying to play bully ball, get that bone cannon off the board. See, that's where the healing volume right there can get you caught, because you need to stay in order to get heals. There wasn't enough basically time or space or a firewall to block off that amazing display you just saw of basically straight up assault. There's the firewall coming out. Kroniid trying to stay alive. See if he can stay alive for 4 more seconds later to get Conjugate back on the board, because that's what he wants. He wants that glass cannon coming back so that rocket barrage can come out and they can have a chance at this, because right now the stack on Zan is comfortable. and he's got him in a good position. And he's got the teleporter behind him, which, as you know, Ketchup, there's one on either side of the map. There's a pretty long cooldown, so it's kind of one of the higher level strat things that a Slayer can do, is sort of position himself in a way where that can be used to his advantage, where he can go to and fro and basically cross the map without much traversal.
He's going to have to resort to that rocket launcher again. He is out of ballista shots, and he knows it, but he's going to go all in and taking out those two demons in one go. I mean, Zan's quick switching is so insane.
It's a tutorial.
I mean, he's juggling the right weapons, though, because in that situation, when you've run out of ballista shots, a lot of Slayers kind of crumble, but if you just manage ammo for every other weapon, you can still quick switch to good effect. Now, power upgrades. We're entering a point where we get those extra bonuses. What really interests me is that Kroniid went for quick acting. The idea of being able to get another loot block on deck to really try and either limit ammo more, or when you get Zan weak, being able to shut down his ability to restack. So very all in, but Zan looking to aggress pretty much instantly. And they don't go for the blue teleporter this time. They know that Zan is able to beat them to the punch every time thanks to his dash upgrade. So it's not worth it. They bide their time, and now they wait for a safe time to go in.
And I love that Zan already has an answer to those double Kakos stacking. Oh my god. Don't blink, by the way, turn around, because he's already off the map, and now it's just Zan v Revenant v Conjugates, which Conjugates has a little bit of escapability here with the fuel, but there's only a limited amount. The question is will he be able to survive long enough, another 3 seconds, to get his teammate back? Oh, he had it, and then wait a second. Okay, he's back on the board. You saw the heal pop. They've got heal, but what I was going to point out there is I love the way that Zan uses Ballista's Arbalist, the mod for that. He was able to get a 2-for-1 in the sense that one shot direct to a Cacodemon will kill it, and he put the other one in glory kill state right off the bat. He is not having a problem dealing with 2 Cacodemons being up in his face.
Arbalist. Arbalist versus Revenant is not a matchup that he enjoys, and just look at the insane damage output. Wait a minute, Conjugate, he's got to be on like 1 health at this point. Looks like a healing cube's come down. You can see the regenerating on the screen. The meat hook all the way in. The surprise attack. I don't think they were fully prepared for him to be as quick in there as he actually was. And that's going to be some splash you don't want to deal with. Wow. This absolutely is a done deal. And that's just not a situation the Archvile can survive. Unfortunately, game 1 goes to Zan.
I mean, that's an absolute display of Slayer dominance. He was doing everything right, where it was the selection of weapon, the timing of quick switching, and really just the situational awareness to, at all times, keep Armageddon to be his jungle gym, regardless of all the crazy AI they were spawning in that map, Ketchup.
There was a nice little bit of like optimization, I suppose, there, though. Like, there was an interesting strat right at the end. I know they didn't really get to use quick acting that much because Zan, he aggresses on you. If you have kind of a setup heavy team comp, Zan is an absolute master of being ruthlessly push heavy, but very calculated. Like, he knows who he wants to take out, when and why. Right at the end, I know Kroniid got deleted pretty much straight away, but they did a great job of recovering because Conjugates was able to pop the Armored to take basically no damage right before Kroniid come back, saved the team heal, used it fresh off spawn, so they were pretty much as healthy as you would be if you spawned, just short of. But it was that surprise meat hook at the last minute. It's so important in that room for a Slayer to not dash in, because if you dash in versus that comp, you're going to get hit by a flame carpet with broiling heat and a missile barrage. If you've used dash, you have no way of surviving it except chain gun shield, but even that won't help you too much if you're standing in the fire, you're debuffed, demons are everywhere, so you have to meat hook, and then the dash is kind of like your maneuverability inside, or it's your way to escape. So exactly. Zan knows that, but they gave it a good attempt, and a lot of people might have watched that thinking, man, they really didn't leave that room. On Armageddon, you kind of have to do that. You have to be really hard to hit, and the demons have to do a lot of that initial work.
Yeah, as you'll see in a lot of these maps, I mean, demons have maneuverability, but not obviously the same momentum and speed that a Slayer can travel at. So you'll see a lot of setups, a lot of traps. Armageddon's a pretty open map, so kind of picking a corner that has some good escape routes, as you see that they did very well, is the play. So now the question is, it's best of 5. First one goes to the Slayer in Zan. What will happen in map 2? Are you ready, Ketchup? I don't think we should waste any other time because we have nothing but finals matches for us here tonight. Are you ready?
I agree. And our next map is going to be Torment. Torment is the latest map that was added to the list. It is a really good map. It's different. No map really plays like it, but A lot of players definitely at this point say it's their favorite one, and you'll soon see why. You can be very creative on it, so let's go.
You can. Let's go right into the new layer cake that id Software so delicately crafted for none other than the greatest community battle mode players in the game right now, Torment. As you can see, there's a lot of, it's interesting because there's verticality, but it's not straight verticality in the sense where it's like big open. Like it's kind of still corridory. It has a little bit of everything here. But there are basically 3 distinct layers that you can both spawn AI and try to fight at. And I'm going to be real curious to see where they try to set up and where they try to run that strat from in this map catch-up.
Now, the lineup has changed a little bit. They've kind of gone back to classic a little bit. This was an original lineup that became the most popular kind of meta set of demons. That Pain Elemental, information, support, tankiness, but push. The ability to absorb some of that Slayer damage. The shield is kind of mandatory. And then you have that classic Marauder. Very range heavy, more tanky than you would expect thanks to the armored properties. And a lot of range. You can poke that Slayer down and kind of go toe-to-toe. The big thing is they're both tricky to pin down on Torment. Dashes, the jumping paths you can take. You can be very hard to finish off when one of you's down. But as you can see here, big fight taking place in the middle, and there's going to be a lot of that. The center point is where a lot of the combat tends to take place.
And again, with this classic comp of Pain Elemental and Marauder, you're going to see a lot of the cat and mouse in the sense that Pain Elemental will almost always try to draw attention, make sure he has eyes on Slayer, because in battle mode, when a Slayer is seen and seen for a specific amount of time, they can be seen regardless of where they are if they turn corners and stuff for a limited amount of time. So the Pain Elemental is literally the eye in the sky, as it being a floating meatball of none other than, this is a Castle Grayscale skin he's got right now. It's gorgeous. I love how the wolf still comes out as the remnants of the Marauder is left on the map. But again, Conjugate's doing a really good job of staying out of dodge, waiting for his teammate to come back, setting up AI, kind of running his comp. It's actually interesting that you see the Carcass doing that much movement, because remember, the Carcass can almost play like a third player in the sense that they can just pop up shields and be really annoying in the way that the Slayer likes to move around, as Zan likes to have his freedom and likes to be able to fly free here. That's a really nice teleport use. I thought he was going to get some PB out of that, a little bit of a precision bolt poke, but again, Conjugate's aware of the angles more than perhaps anyone on the demon side right now, and doing a really good job of playing pushback.
Last minute attempt there from Kroniid. He knows he's going to go down. There's not really much you can do to stop that, so he's going to put down that Noxious Hazard. He's going to get as much damage as he can, but Conjugate's really doing the right thing, and this is where the Pain Elemental can really thrive. The kind of ability to fly and dash, it's super important for just staying alive. However, alive long enough for Kroniid to spawn. Whether Kroniid can survive, yeah, he's kind of stuck out in the open. Looks a little bit like the round was done. But we're going into the next round. Now, the important thing is that now Conjugates is going to be able to get Fit Meatball. Now, Fit Meatball just means that your aerial dash, you get it more often. It's as simple as that. And on this map, that faster dash, it lets you survive, it lets you evade, it lets you waste time while you wait for your teammate to respawn. And there are so many ways that you can make it difficult for the Slayer to chase you down. Now, Tactician, good for the Marauder because it just means that you get a little bit more of that armor. You have shorter cooldowns on things like your Noxious Hazard. It only comes back in like, what, 24 seconds? That's barely anything for the damage you get.
I like that they try to zone him out there by putting the Noxious Hazard down right away on both sides of when he goes up and he goes down. Zan now playing on the back foot, but wait, you've got Kroniid on basically a fingernail of HP. He goes down, the health and armor is collected. But again, he's got Fit Meatball now, so you're going to see that dash come up quicker, which is super, super important if he's going to survive this. It's going to be hard. But again, I love Zan's play here. He's a patient Slayer in the way that, like you said, you might see him push forward a lot, but when he hits that W, there's not a single thought about it that isn't calculated.
Last-minute dash. Last-minute dash to get away from that precision bolt. Arbalist's not going to quite hit its mark. The rapid fire between the bolt. I mean, the rapid fire between everything. This is ridiculous. Kroniid barely alive. Now, the problem is they're both weak. That double hazard means you can't heal. So unless you can survive long enough to get that double team heal on deck, you're going to have to be on borrowed time, I guess, in these situations. And he's not able to get him. Kroniid, so good at being slippery. And you have to be slippery as the Marauder. But he gets him. He gets him anyway.
Can we talk about the way that he uses a meat hook to basically just be like the confectionery carnage of just running the gamut on how you play Torment, and the way that he's just jungle gymming around using any big enemy he can, like a spider, an Arachnotron on the ground to just basically use how he wishes. Please.
What's happening
Bigger
here?
bar.
This is a significant set of upgrades, Tokyo, because now we have the Tactician from the Pain Elemental, which means more hazards, shorter cooldown. And then we have the bigger bar, which is going to make the Marauder all that little bit more annoying to really finish off. So those situations where the Marauder's just about to get taken out, that extra 500 goes a long way. But it's going to be all about those double hazards. Zan being crazy aggressive at the start, as he knows he has to be. Nice little ballista jump, actually, really to cover that distance. Boost, I really like that one.
Another great hazard, though, to put him in the situation where he has to basically
They've
go
shut
now.
down the teleporter. They've shut down the teleporter completely, and now Zan had no choice but to accept the damage. And Kroniid, being that kind of, I would say, living body block, but the Marauder's barely alive, isn't it?
He's got the shield up. You know he's on the absolute back foot. Loot blocks are now irrelevant because they got him. They caught him. They caught him out. That was a really, really nice touch.
Turned into pace, Tokyo. That's what that was. Power upgrades. This is where things actually start to benefit the demons quite a lot, because you got the Sentinel infused, basically more stack and ammo, right, for the Slayer. But the double team heal, it just means that you can pretty much play this general game better all the way. You know, you've got more sustain, you've got more push, and if you're coordinated, you just have the extra tanky factor, and then you add the fact that you've got bigger bar on the Marauder as well. Pretty nice.
Yeah, and it's the fact that it's instantaneous. When you pop that team heal, you just get that HP. It's not a volume you have to pop. There's no time on delay. So it's going to be really interesting to see if they can fully utilize this in the way that they both get full advantage while they're still alive.
SSG damage.
They've already got all of Zan's armor gone. Doing some really nice. You're seeing that axe hit like it's magnetized right now. You've got Kroniid throwing some bangers.
Conjugates there being crazy aware that Zan's dash was down, so he actually used the hazard as a ranged projectile just to get that free stack. But wait a minute, Zan, he's super weak again, and here comes the shield. He's going to be aggressive here. Conjugates, of course he will, and he knows he can push. Oh my lord!
Is there any HP?
Like one. Oh, sniped.
That lost soul just got found. Beautiful. Beautiful toss from Conjugates, the Pain Elemental in the sky. We're in the final round here, Ketchup. It's 2-2. It could go either way. This is really looking good for the Demons. They're on a nice run right now.
The upgrades absolutely favor the Demons a lot more in this respect. Like, look, upgrades help everyone, but the amount of utility it changes for the Demons, I mean, that's how significant things become. Now, here's the immediate shot. But the Armored comes out from Kroniid, and thanks to his Tactician, it's still up, look. He still has Armored, so he can still be a little bit aggressive if he wants to. And he's not even taken half life. However, this might change a little bit as Zan looking to push. Yo, check out the Arachnotron jumping on his head.
I love throwing the frag grenade, throwing a rocket launcher, just leaving damage like on your heels. Like, I love the way that Zan is basically like keeping nothing but safety behind him in the way that he's moving around this map and keeping basically everything in front of him in a way that's going to take damage. That's already off the board right there with Kroniid. So now it's that 1v1 versus Pain Elemental. The shield is up, but it's only going to be up for so long. Let's see how Zan can take advantage of this. The Ballista Boost comes out. The Doge is just standing up there, just waiting for his master to return. 2 more seconds and he'll get him back.
I do wonder if Conjugates has his team heal, though. Oh, no, they have. Look, healed it almost immediately. But just as quickly, Zan has deleted it. That is how much damage a talented Slayer can really pump out, and why Demons have to be so careful he goes down. Now, I mean, it's going to be in Kroniid's position to make sure he doesn't get hit. Now, the Marauder, even though it is a little bit squishy compared to some of the larger Demons, you do have the Armored, and he's smaller. The reality is the Marauder is just a smaller target, and that is beautiful ticks. Catching him in the double jump. Conjugate's absolutely going to come back, and Zan quite intelligently using it as an opportunity to restack, and just look at the damage you can pump out. Kroniid getting tagged by Ballista, but it's not enough. Loot blocks definitely going to happen. No double blocks. Conjugates and Kroniid absolutely in sync. I block, you block.
And they've got a long time for that team heal to come back, so they really need to make sure that when they make their push, it's got to count. It's got to be all or nothing, or they need to basically try to back up and see if they can get Zan in a situation where he's not focused on them enough. He can try to restack and they can get their team heal back and make another push.
Now, Zan has no armor. He's probably going to get some armor, though. Remember the flaming meat hook. That is such a good way for a Slayer to get that instant 20 health. And you can actually go for a meat hook into a flame belch and it stacks. So you get more armor than you would expect. And Zan definitely knows that. That's why sometimes he'll get 40 armor instead of 20.
I love again, leaving the Arbalist like a love letter in case Conjugates was peeking and tried to look.
Yeah, I mean,
Didn't
why
hit him
not,
with
right?
It, but yeah, exactly. You'll see that Zan will use...
Position.
Oh, good God. Can we just highlight that meat hook for 2 seconds? Like, that was just like, I'd rather be in the middle of the map. Thanks. One move, done. Perfect meat hook there. Damage is coming out.
To shut it down. They got their team heal as well, Tokyo, and that's really important. The time it's taken Zan to get his stack has allowed them to waste that time, and now they might be aggressive because he's got no armor, he's super low on ammo, they blocked that as well, he's got nothing left.
And he's looking for ads, there we go. Now he's got one, okay. He's got a bit of a stack back as far as
armored.
At least, but wait, they've got all of his armor gone. This is like such a beautiful, fair fight, but they've got him exactly in the middle of where they wanted to be. Oh, plus the hazard, there it goes! Demons!
That's what I'm talking about.
Boy! That was as good as it gets for end of round. That's exactly the kind of play that we've come to expect out of Kroniid Conjugates. That is, like, I loved watching that not only because I love Torment, it's one of my favorite maps, but they ran that old comp like you so perfectly pointed out. Like, we saw so many of that early game for Battle Mode. Like, when the game launched, it was like, wait, I can be a Marauder? Okay, well, somebody's going to be that. And then the Pain Elemental was such a nice utility to not only be the eye in the sky, always have eyes in the Slayer, but also, like, such good defense. And then when you start getting dash plus that fit meatball, like the survivability to get your Marauder, your damage doer, your super shotgun with Wolf underneath back is like, it's high chances. I loved what I saw in that map out of all of them. I mean, again, Zan is running an absolute clinic on how to use, I feel like he's the only one I've seen so far use, like, I'll just call them precision meat hooks, because like, I've seen a lot of people use them, like, you'll just flick the mouse and you'll just go flying. You'll just use some AI fodder to just like fling yourself across the map. But like it's like he lands on his tiptoe every time he does it. Like, it is a beauty to behold.
And also, really, that map was a perfect example of just how much the single map can really evolve for the demons. It's all about getting those upgrades, but not just, okay, I've got these upgrades and now I'm going to win. It is how you utilize all of that as well, which is not easy to do against someone like Zan. It really can't be overstated just how much damage the Slayer can actually do if the quick switches are on point. And with Zan, they're always going to be on point. So there's a massive emphasis on demons to be hard to hit, hard to chase, always deny a line of sight. You just have to play this kind of ranged dance with the Slayer at all times. But when the time is right to go in, you have to make the most out of that one moment. There's no room for error. However, once you start to get the tacticians on deck, so you get more hazard, more heals, depending on the action set that you've actually taken, the faster cooldowns, the longer armored, like whatever it is, it helps so much that once you get it, you can start playing a little bit better. And then when you get double team heal, you can get even better still, because now you can last longer, you can play more tactically. And yeah, that map was just a great example. Now our next map, with it currently being a 1-1, was Extraction.
Ooh. I love me some Extraction. Huge shout out to anyone that was a big fan of Doom 2016's multiplayer, because you're gonna recognize this map because it's the Excavation cousin, sister, brother, like, from another mother. Like, there is all of the touches there. You're gonna see some corridory play. You're gonna see some long hallways under, some dangerous sight lines over. Of course, the teleporting to each side. Ketchup, it's 1-1. This is exactly where we wanted to be in a best-of-5 finals for these absolute legends playing Battle Mode. Are you ready for map 3? Should we just go straight in, or what are we doing? Are we doing it?
I'm ready, Tokyo. I'm ready. I mean, the reality is this Friday Night Fight Invitational Finals on Saturday is 100% just really to find out who is the most dominant of the dominant, because Kroniid Conjugates, they've been proven over 7 weeks of constant competition that they're the most dominant demons. Yeah. Zan is the most dominant Slayer. We're just trying to find out who the Supreme Champion is going to be, you know what I mean? So it's no doubt, it's no wonder why these players are just giving it so good. You know what I mean? And let's go into the next map.
Just plus ultra right into map 3. Here we go. Okay. Every angle, you're going to see that UAC treatment was what kind of madness was going on here? Was this a factory? There's vents. You see a lot of things being growing out of the ground. God knows what experiments happen here, but I'll tell you right now that this is going to be absolutely nuts. This is the tiebreaker so far. Again, this is best of 5. It could go all the way, but right now it is 1-1, and this is just excavation is such an interesting, different pick for a map in the sense that like. There's only basically like 2 main levels of this map, so you're going to see a lot of these long shots as Zan is like pursuing right here. You're going to see those PBs, that ballista coming out, but the setups are really different in the sense that those 2 big rooms for the teleporter catch up, like they can be life or death, and like that risk or basically like fight or flight moments, I think they're going to happen pretty frequently on this map as far as when we get towards the end and they're going for those pushes. I love the hazard too, coming out naturally in this map. It hurts both demons and slayers. Of course, Conjugate is floating way above that, being the spicy meatball in the sky, but my God, they're hitting everything, and I think that this might be it already on round 1, and that's
I've
a really
got to mention,
nice...
at the same time, they did a
please.
wonderful job of calling out his movement, the amount of hazards they hit on the jump pads that Zan kind of had no choice but to use. But hang on a minute, just like
How
that,
is he alive?
he's going
My
to get some
God.
guaranteed. You get guaranteed stack and ammo from a dead demon. Is he going to be able to finish the job? Conjugates kind of runs into him.
Yeah.
Zan still taking a bit of damage. He has to get rid of that Hell Knight real quick because he's not healthy, and that was disgusting range. The precision bolt into the ballista, so much damage in a short space of time, but they did well. It's just his
really
restack.
well.
Zan's restack is disgusting. Now, nothing new here. Zan, he loves the dash. A lot of Slayers like to go Mastercard first because look, they hate being out of ammo, but Zan, movement is what he's all about. If he can move, he can chase, he can run, he can play mind games. How you chase and how you run away. The dash can introduce so many more layers to how a demon can chase you down. The fact he has dashing now means hazards are less likely to hit him, and that's what almost got him killed in the first round.
Exactly right. I love we're already seeing the ballista boost coming out, doing that surprise coming out of nowhere. You don't know where the angle is. You don't know exactly where it's coming from. And again, this is a Quake player. This guy is counting his rounds. So it doesn't surprise me that Dash is coming out before MasterCard because he knows exactly what he's doing and exactly what his stack is at all times. That is why when he's making these pushes, even when they seem dangerous, he knows that he can come out of it. Oh my. I don't know if Kroniid's going to make it out of this. There's a very low Marauder on the map right now, and he is doing some double jumps, and I'm not sure if it's going to last.
He's going to get that guaranteed haste. This carcass has been such a pain in his backside, though. All right, the chainsaw, and now they use the loop block. Now that you have to really get that time and a place. They try and shut down his ammo. Unfortunately, not quite able to do it. We are going to lose the Marauder here. But again, Conjugate's really healthy. And with this Pain Elemental Shield and the Fit Meatball, it's pretty likely that he's going to survive this. That said, the damage is going to be insane. I do like that hazard being used just to create an obstacle that Zan's unlikely to push forward into. And now they've somewhat stabilized. But the problem is Zan, incredibly healthy.
Yeah, I mean, now he's almost got a full stack, including armor. This is definitely not a good setup for demons, but you know what? These demons have survived, made pushes, and changed this whole thing and turned it around before, so the hazard already comes out,
nice.
So there's going to be one less. They're not going to have a hazard for a little bit here. Zan goes underneath looking for some resources. As you can see, his super shotgun was out of ammo there, and he's going to get it, but already Kroniid is again at a fang's health. And it's not going to be a wolf that can save him there. You get a nice little restack coming from that. Zan's healthy enough to make a full push on Conjugates, who is just trying to survive, trying to stay out of harm's way. He's fully visible. That shield's coming down, but Zan actually chooses smartly to restack, reset, and sort of just, cause the flow of the map to go his way. Again, AI have not been in this area for a while, so he knows he's safe. He knows he can back up to it. And he's just
More
sort
push,
of...
though. Hang on. Look at his lack of armor, Tokyo.
Okay, hold on.
Everyone's kind of tender here. So
Yeah.
One good hazard. Oh, that hazard, only one tick. Definitely could have been a little bit more there. But
Oh.
the more important thing is that Zan now knows the hazard is gone, so he's not going to be as nervous to push.
That
and now with
peekaboo.
Kroniid being as weak as he is,
That
he's probably going to have his
peekaboo,
armor back. Yeah, it was always insane, those kind of shots.
Can we talk about that patience too? You've mentioned how much of a nuisance that carcass is on the map. He just sees him and casually leaves him there. Knows that he's there for a meat hook if he needs him for an underneath quick route. Ooh, you
Arbalest.
love it. You love it. My God, that's how you use the Arbalest. Ladies and gentlemen, take notes. The Doge
This is a scary
takes
situation.
Conjugates,
It's going to take them a
that
lot of
shield's
time
coming
to get out
down.
of
That
height.
shield's coming down.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's going to chase it. Can he find him? That's the
Again.
million-dollar question. Can he actually find him? Like, not yet. Oh, there he is.
Oh, it's a spicy meatball. The Hell Knight doing with the Hell...
Oh,
Oh,
the read. That's the mind games I'm talking about. You just get a good read on where they're going to escape and cut them off. I mean, you can't be right 100% of the time, but this is a good place to be. And even with the armored in effect, he's still got deleted at the end. Ooh, nice little boost there. But 2 rounds straight. Now, things are going to change again. As I said, we did see this pretty much in the last map where, look, Pain Elemental gets Tactician, Marauder gets Bigger Bar. Now, things are going to be just that little bit more difficult for the Slayer to take them out. But it's got to be said, Zan, I mean, the big thing is that he's getting frags really early, and he's kind of keeping them separated. So they're never really able to group together. They can't coordinate too much in attack, because if one of them's permanently behind, the demons can't 1v1, right? They're not designed to be able to do that. And he's doing a good job of just choosing who to aggress on first. And a lot of the time, it tends to be Kroniid, just to keep him weak.
Yeah, and see, of course, with this comp, they kind of do want to keep, you know, the Slayer in the middle as much as they can. Wow, some really nice super shotguns and that axe coming out. Conjugates with the push. I love to see it when the
nice
shield comes
positioning.
out, doing the body block. They got him in a nice spot right now. Let's see if this chase can persist. They're both in really good spots. Will he get cut off? Oh, he does. He does. That's exactly what they wanted. But he survives. My God, how does this guy survive?
I don't know how he's still alive.
Oh my
Tokyo.
God.
Oh, that's the meat hook behind, so this the shotgun blast.
Look
not
at his health. He was
not.
dead a second ago. He is just, in his maneuverability, his ability to restack is like none other. So impressive to watch.
He's still
Really
taking a lot
nice
of damage.
hazard.
Oh,
Really
that's
nice
it.
hazard. Ooh, the push is real.
I swear if he survived this, I'm going to be so mad.
Oh my God.
I will be mad for
Oh, he
them.
poked back out. With the hazard, there's no way. Oh my God, he's restacking as it's moving. Catch him. What are we looking at? Jesus.
All right, he's done. He's done. He's done. I think and look how weak Kroniid was. He was one hit. He was like one small projectile away from going down. Now, the important thing about that round is it's given us power upgrade. So now the double team heal comes back. Yes, there is Sentinel infused, but the reality is it is that double team heal that makes the big difference. And
100%.
right now, I mean, if they get more of that, they're in the money, I suppose, you know? They're in a good spot.
I mean, that was the hardest fought round I've seen, maybe ever. So now they've got some momentum going their way. But yeah, like you said, the power upgrades, specifically which, that team heal, these guys know exactly when and how to push. And they're going to try to put Zan in that situation where he's done the homework, he's done the math, and he thinks he can win. And it's going to come down to who hits all of their shots when that fateful duel comes down, because it's coming. It's a coming. They're both looking pretty stacked. Go ahead.
There was a big push there from Zan. The thing is, he immediately went through the teleporter, but he forced the armored out of Kroniid. And now, look, he's sticking to him because he has no armored. He has no way of surviving. You would barely even believe the team heal came out there, but it did.
Seriously.
One of them came out.
Wow.
And now Conjugates. You'll notice that he did disengage. You know, Kroniid no doubt said, I'm going to go down, run, separate, let me come back. And we'll see what we can do later. But Zan's going to use this to restack.
Speaking of lonely wolves, there's only 2 more seconds before he gets that boy back. Conjugate's in a great spot. They're back on the board. Like, this is an interesting situation. It's almost a full reset, except for the fact that Kroniid could maybe use that team heal, but wait a second. There it is. Okay, so now they're looking pretty good. If they can get that shield back, Conjugate needs to protect himself. Oh, no.
I mean, he gets the shield, but how much damage has he taken in the meantime? And Zan, he's going to stick. He knows he can stick to him and push.
Oh,
Kroniid's
God.
just about to lose his armored state,
Oh, God.
so he's on borrowed time. And this is just the shred.
That push was so real, Ketchup. Like, it's almost like you just see in both those demons' eyes, as soon as that shield came down and you know he didn't have armored, you just see the lights go out. Because at that point, it's just like, how many quick switches is it going to be? Is it going to be 5? Is it going to be 7? Like, there's not enough traversal options in the world at the end of that when they'd already popped their best defenses to get out of those, the clutches of the aggressive quick switch of Zan. Like, my God, though, can we just go back to that one round? Can we just live that round forever? I want to see that round every day.
He survived on like no health for like 2 minutes.
God. That
or
was
something mad.
bananas.
So for those that may not actually know really why or how, it's all about juggling use of invincibility. So if you're close enough to a demon, you pop that glory kill or chainsaw, it kind of, immediately activates that chainsaw kill or glory kill, something that puts you in an unkillable state, right? So if you're able to constantly keep demons nearby, it's going to be the fodder in some way that sets you up for those kind of cinematics. You can keep that temporary invincibility, and if you juggle them well enough, you become obnoxiously difficult to deal with. But you've got to be able to actually, do enough damage to a demon in a short space of time so it becomes glory killable. It's not, you can easily just delete an imp by mistake, and you're one way of surviving. The stack that drops isn't going to save you. You need the invincibility. So it's all about just micromanaging more than just your ammo and your health. It's what fodder is nearby and why. How can I put it to a good use? And that's pretty much what Zan did. But I gotta say, considering I really can't state enough how difficult it is to survive against a Slayer that's able to do that much damage. A lot of rounds in the general matchmaking would go quite quickly off the back of that. But when it comes to Kroniid and Conjugates, they play very slippery, and you have to do that. And
just their setups, there were so many that were so brilliant in the way that they enabled each other to play their characters as best to their ability. Like the way that Conjugates can, first of all, just survive as a Pain Elemental, blows my mind. And sure, Excavation has maybe some of the best escape routes if you know how to set up correctly, because there's just that, with that 2-layer verticality, there's the escapability of just being able to, once you get fit Meatball, being able to just kind of Meatball drift through those corners, which he did brilliantly to get Kroniid back on multiple occasions. But, oh, God. I got to say, I was rooting for them. I was biased that match. After that round, I was like, they're hitting everything. Yo, these guys are hitting everything. But Zan's survivability, the way that when he escapes, he's still getting enough HP, maybe even a little bit of armor to survive for 1 or 2 more shots. And sometimes with Zan, that could be it, because those 1 or 2 shots for a normal Slayer might be 5 or 6 with his quick switching ability and his traversal. But that's just that map. Are we on 3? I don't even, where are we? What is happening?
We're on 4 now.
Jesus.
So map 4, one of my personal favorites.
Yeah.
Penance.
Ooh. Penance. I think that it's time to go into the Church of Penance. Let's go right away. So Penance, as you can see, this gorgeous map, I'm so curious to see if they're gonna run the kind of current and sort of all-time meta of kind of setting up and staying in that cathedral up top, because it just has kind of a little way, especially if we end up seeing an Archvile on this, that you can set up and sort of be almost completely protected. But wait a second, there's a Pain Elemental, and wait for it. Ooh, Marauder, they're running that old meta. Okay, this might be a little different because the setups are definitely not as campy with this too. You might see a lot more of them trying to get him perfectly in between where they're doing that V. The Carcass might be the MVP on this map too. I'm just going to shout it out before it even happens, Ketchup, because we've seen it before and we might see it again.
I definitely suspect that this comp really exists as a way to shut down that damage output, or at least prevent it somewhat. It's all about that Pain Elemental shield, the ability to, right there, completely soak up those vital shots that would otherwise put you in a really unfavorable position. Now here comes the spam. Being able to spam out those projectiles, get a little bit of that splash damage just for some bonus damage. The loot block coming out, because check it out, he's been doing a lot of damage, but how weak is he? 14 health. Ooh. The chain gun shield to try and save his skin, but the chain gun shield now only covers the front of him. It's not full 360 invincibility like it once was.
There wasn't a loot block on that, so he does have some stack, but my God, he's getting hit with all of these. Hold on. He's trying to restack again. He's pushing up in the face of Conjugates.
He has to be careful though, Tokyo.
Ooh. He's got too much health now. He's got too much health for the demons to be comfortable. Let's see where this back foot goes. Really nice hazard, but is it enough? It absolutely isn't for Kroniid, who's already off the board. Conjugate's now retreating back to the cathedral. He's got the shield up. It's going to last a little while, but how long? My God, it's not going to last long enough.
Ouch.
Caught him with his meatball out.
Point blank in the Pain Elemental backside, that was. Now, back to the classic upgrades. Just the dashing, the meatball, the tactician. We've talked about the utility of it before, but I mean, it's the exact same case here on the map. But the thing about Penance is it's a very small map. So combat is, the moment the round begins, you're fighting. There's really very few little room to disengage and gather your thoughts. You have to fight all the time. It's just a matter of what do you micromanage at important times when there might be a bit of downtime. Zan getting that meat hook so he barely takes any ticks through the hazard. That is a really good hazard location because a lot of Slayers, they love jump pads. But if you've got a Pain Elemental to block them, you've got 2 hazards, it's just areas that you're going to take tons of damage, but he's going to push and get tons of damage on Conjugates already. This is absolutely outrageous damage that he's able to get there. And he's going once he gets more of it. Look at it.
Once he gets Conjugates off the board, as in now, it is that 1v1 Slayer v Marauder that is not going to go in the favor of the Marauder with this much damage output. Ketchup, that's G's for that round. It is a quick 2-0 because honestly, the survivability of Conjugates is right now what the axis of their success rate relies on, and it's just hard when he's pushing so much and going specifically for that meatball. Master Carve, Tactician, Bigger Bar. I like to see Bigger Bar out of the Marauder, out of Kroniid there, because in those 1v1s, maybe now he can choose to play a little bit more passively so we can get Conjugates back on the board. We will see, because here we are in the 3rd round. It is 2-1 of games going the way of the Slayer at full stack. Already used the teleporter. It's going to be on a cooldown now. The question is how do they set up and how do they execute where they can stop some of this damage output and start getting it into the Slayer with being able to perfectly loot block some of these, these ads that are just sitting down there ready to be Zanned, basically.
I mean, the big thing is they've got rid of his armor already. This is their green light to push, and it's why they're being so aggressive. Zan, he's using the jump pad just to be a little bit harder to hit. Remember, projectiles, very hard to hit a Slayer that's constantly using those, but he's not going to over-rely on it. Like I said, the hazard becomes so dangerous. Here comes that first block. Zan used a ton of ammo. Big hazard. But now, Kroniid, he's going to have to be quite careful.
Though. Hold on, look at their health. Look at his health. Oh my.
What health? What
oh my. Forget what I said. It's gone. It doesn't exist.
You know what that means?
Calculated.
You know what that means?
Power
Team heal.
Upgrades. Oh,
power upgrades.
This changes
Power
everything.
upgrades. They do. Yeah. They do indeed. And especially on this map, like I said, the Slayer's going to fight you constantly, and you haven't got room to really dodge him or play a slow game. You need the team heal, especially now he's going to have extra stack and ammo thanks to Sentinel infused.
Right.
Here we go. He's going to go for a last-minute jump pad when they're not in a position to punish him. I like that they can't put a hazard down straight away, right? So that's a free jump.
But the same can be said in the way that, sure, the Slayer has jump pads as maneuverability for options in this, but if the Slayer is caught out in the open with low health, he's almost an equal target in the sense that there's not a whole lot of places he can go and hide either. So I like the way that this map favors if you're out in the open, like it's 50-50 here because you can be hit. And as you see here, I like the way they're trying to set up. They're trying to get Zan to maybe use that telly, trying to bait it out, because if they know that the telly isn't available, they can push that strategy even harder, get those hazards going, and sort of try to play him into their hand. Okay, switching sides they just switch positions there. He's doing the airborne stuff again. Slayer's incredibly hard to hit in the air, but Conjugates is a Lost Souls like sniper. I don't know what else to call him. The guy has like magnetic vision with this stuff.
You'll notice that Zan he's only really going down into the middle if he needs resources. It's very scary being down here for this reason, actually. There's plenty of meat, plenty of demons around that can damage you, and you can get body blocked consistently. Plus, it's a popular hazard location, and now he runs down. Look at the damage that he takes. That is why Slayers often like to avoid that center area unless they have to try and get some resources. And now we're going into a final round again.
My God. This is the quickest final round that we've got to, and it's perfectly tied. This is exactly where we want to be. If Zan wins this match right now, if he wins this round, that's GG's. That's the finals. This is exactly where I wanted to be. This is the most exciting place you can ever see battle mode played because this is the finals. He's already popped the teleporter again. This is exactly what the demons want. They know that that's not available. They know that's not an option. They know they can push and set up in a way where they can drop hazards and sort of keep him where they want him. But wait a second. Oh my God.
Team heal.
Such a nice team heal.
Out the team heal.
Such a nice team heal, though.
I mean, it can't even be understated, Tokyo, how stressful this can be, too. They know this is tournament point for Zan.
Yeah.
And there's one round away, and they're taking a bunch of damage. They've just had to use their team heals in basically 40 seconds. A pretty bad start, all things considered. Here comes the projectiles and the splash again, and the combos from Zan, lightning fast.
I love that, though. They were playing bully ball on that, and the wolf got his bite, and all of a sudden, he's in a situation where he's only got 82 health. He's trying to restack, but they popped all their loot blocks. Okay, the teleporter's back. Ooh, the hazard's doing damage.
Oh, what a hazard.
Wait a sec. We
What
got
a
a
hazard.
2-2 coming at you for the finals. We are about to go into
Ridiculous.
This is
Ridiculous.
This is why we do this, to see the sweatiest matches go the furthest of rounds. These guys play each other all the time, but still it's nothing but mind games and madness. Like, that's the quickest Penance I've seen, and it still went the full distance. Catch up the aggression and the fact that I think they know what's at stake and they're not trying to stretch it out in the sense that, like, forget about restack. Do you want to go? What's your HP? Okay, what are your abilities? Okay, that teleporter's gone. Push, push, push. And they did, and they got the map. It is about to be map 5. This is the final map.
It's really unfortunate for Zan there, because what really happened at the end was that he tried to chainsaw a small piece of fodder, and it looked a little bit like he just did the chainsaw like half a second too early, because it said no target. So he had the right idea to chainsaw and, again, kind of go into that invincibility. But it's just, if you miss, you can't really do anything. You can't swap to a different weapon. You're stuck in that whiffed chainsaw animation. May not seem like much, but when you've got demons all over you and you've got a marauder with a shotgun out, that's a lot of damage that you can't return. And it kind of just started the string of, that is the moment Zan had to play extremely from behind. Yeah. And the second you're the person that's behind, or people, if you're the demons, that is the hardest moment to recover from, is when you're that close to being taken out. But that does mean...
What's it mean?
It's a final map. It's a final map situation between the best demons and the best Slayer. I'm glad this is where we are.
You know what? I'm glad. It's been 8 weeks of just this tournament to get to the best of the best. And of course they went the distance, Ketchup. How could they not? This is what fate decided a long time ago, before we were even here.
I didn't know what to expect. I mean, you always know that I think if any demon comp or team has a chance against Zan, or the biggest chance, I don't want to absolutely undersell anyone else, sure. But these are the two players that I would always expect to do the best. Because there's a lot of people out there that if you've played against Zan in matchmaking, if you've watched him on the Friday Night Fights, if you watch his stream, all three, there's a lot of stream activity from these three players.
Yeah.
He looks unbeatable, doesn't he? He looks like, how can anyone ever take a map off this absolute beast? And looks like we are going into that final map, and we're going to find out what the conclusion was. What was the conclusion, Tokyo?
There's only one thing to do.
Finish it.
Oh, of course it's Tundra. Of course it's Tundra. Oh,
historically, they have really good games on Tundra, these three. And Tundra, like Penance, is a very combat-heavy map, but the combat takes place near Tower. That big tower that you can see in the middle of the map, it's where the Marauder and the Pain Elemental really like to set up shop. And that is going to be the comp that we saw them rock here.
This map is such a good one in the sense that I've seen so many exchanges happen in so many places, and yeah, there's some concentration points, but this is one of the first maps where I ever saw Zan literally play billiards on the bottom half of that tower with fodder, just going in and out the way that he's already starting to do now, basically using his meat hook as like an auto, key card to the yellow, to the blue, to the red door, wherever the hell it is that the demons are hiding, because the action is already coming straight to him. I love this aggressive push from demons so early. As we know, historically, demons do not start with the advantage in the way that the Slayer does as far as Arsenal goes. But you couldn't tell, Ketchup, because they already took him off the board. Woo! That was fast.
I'm never going to get tired of watching a point-blank Marauder shotgun. Just never. And now, upgrade-wise, it's the exact same thing that we've seen all the way. And some people do like to mix it up a little bit, but it's more common in the current meta that people have, their preferred set of upgrades. The Fit Meatball makes you agile. Tactician helps you utility. Tactician makes you survive longer. You can push longer thanks to Armored, really, more than anything. And then the bigger bar coming later. It's all stuff that it just gives you that consistent chance, right? And consistency is what you want. That was a delicious star. Wow. Coast to coast. Coast to coast.
It almost is like the immediate payback of, you want to do super shotgun up close? Ballista boost, wait for it. Here I am. Accept it, please. Accept it the other way around.
My shotgun's got a hook on it. I don't see that on yours, mate.
Oh my god, the payback is real. The delete key has been found, and it has been hit. He did take a lot getting there. He's got no armor, and Conjugates as a fit meatball. Ooh, nice little swing there from the Hell Knight, a KO coming out. But Conjugates, you got to think he's more comfortable than he's ever been on Tundra because honestly, using that middle Zenith Tower is just one of the best things the Pain Elemental can do. But the movement is so hard to predict.
Did you see how many exits Zan covered with that one play thanks to the Ballista boost?
Yep. And again, the way that he uses rockets to his advantage to just cover damage no matter where he's heading and poke a little bit from the behind in case somebody's trying to chase him, somebody's trying to peek. But wait a second, look at his HP. They're both a little bit more stacked than he is. He's trying to restack now. Will he be able to? He is. He's got a little finger of armor, but not for long. God, you hear it. It's happening. There might be, yep, that's what I thought. You're hearing a little bit of extra...
that's a chain gun, isn't it?
Let's call it the chain gun. Because sometimes it'd be that way. Sometimes the level just wants it to ring out like a bell. So it do. But right now, again,
we're checking out Van now. I can't hear it anymore. That's all good. Look at the flames on his blister. Oh, I like the flames. That's nice. Good flames.
It's that
nice flames. Nice flames, Zan.
It's that hot rod coming out. The Mattel in all of us wants it to survive. But wait a second. Will he get back on this hoverboard, go over this axe, and get right into Conjugates to take him off the board because he is about to go. He is about to take a dirt nap. And they're... How did he survive that shot? Okay, he didn't. He didn't. There was one more. There's one more. Okay. I was getting
You sounded
confused.
so shocked. You sounded nearly angry in reality.
I was.
Kroniid, he's getting big chase. This has been such a long round considering how much of it Zan spent weak. But again, like I said, they go for the double hazard. You can't heal, right? So you have to kind of go all in, or at the very least, just play this game of don't get hit. And look at Kroniid's positioning. He's so annoying to pin down. And that's exactly how you have to play against the Slayer like this.
He's using every single one of those little vertical ledges to just hoppy back and forth and be a really hard target to hit. And wait a second, he got found. He got found. So now it comes down to that 1v1 of the ever fit meatball. The shield is up, but I have it. Look at the patience. I love it. He doesn't get crazy with this movement. Zan is just waiting for him to telepath what you saw, which is the round going towards the Zanster there, because he waited for that shield to come down patiently, and he capitalized.
I mean, the big thing for Zan near the end was clearing the entire arena of demons.
Yeah.
When you're in that center point, Hell Knights like to beat you up, Arachnotrons like to body block you, and he just got rid of them as soon as possible. So you get both stack and shutting down their ability to cause you problems, and then it just becomes a pure 2v1, and they can't really deal with that if they're as weak as they were.
They can't. That stack attack comes out. I love the kind of like feint there. I think everybody thought he was going through that telly, and he did not.
Armageddon's been forced.
Oh, they've pretty much taken his armor away, though. This is looking good in the favor of demons right now if they can continue this push. It's coming Kroniid's way, but he's not too bothered by it until now, and he's getting hit by everything. But Zan is so low. Oh!
And the carcass blocked narrowly a tiny amount. Here comes the loot block. That loot block caused to double up, not only shutting down the ammo, but shutting down his ability to stack Arachnotron.
Arachnotron.
Hello. That's what it was. Hello. Pew, pew, pew.
That's how it be sometimes.
Power upgrade time. And with that, actually looks like the demons have the advantage here, Tokyo.
It does, because you know what? Like I respect this is Zan showing respect in starting the round with more health, armor, and ammo, because he's running into these situations where he has he's almost 50-50 in a lot of these, where it's like, if I hit either Kroniid or Conjugates one more time, that's it. It's me or it's them. But like the demons honestly are playing a big part in this more than they have in the other one. The Arachnotron in particular, you're seeing the MVP right there. A little bit of aggression coming out of Zan, trying to make sure that he doesn't do what he did last time, which is let those that laser cannon, that head-mounted laser cannon, or brain-mounted as it were, do as much damage. But again, I love the way that Kroniid uses the basically like the verticality of this map the same way that the Slayer would. It really shows off. Yeah,
except they're trying to finish it. He's out of armor. He's out of armor. They've almost got their hazards back. I counted 10 seconds on the hazard respawn. So it's actually, if Zan is in a bad situation, they could pretty much melt him down right now. He's going to be super careful. He's still looking to make a big push. Team Heal gets forced out. This could be the end of the tournament if they play their cards right, but Zan going to play the eternally hard to pin down game. Yep, that's a hazard
there
miss.
It is, there it is.
They went all in. The hazards are gone. No, both of them gone.
That frag to rocket to PV though, like, there's just so much damage. It's like you must hide when Zan is peeking, because you're gonna get hit with everything. Conjugates doesn't have his shield up. He's doing a really good job of evading. But he still took some at the end there. He still took some at the end, and you know that I don't think Team Heal is back for either of them, so if there's a push coming from Zan, who's getting pretty stacked right now, he's got a little bit of armor and a whole lot of HP, this could definitely go his way. Yeah.
Absolutely tons of ammo.
Yeesh. If the demons can finish him right now, this is GG's the tournament. So I'm so curious to see how they're going to set up and try to be aggressive while staying alive. My God, Kroniid just got hit by almost everything. Really nice hazard to make sure that he didn't get pushed again. But Zan's just playing peeky, peeky, pokey, pokey. And my God, if he hits anything, that's it for Kroniid until they get... Okay, Team Heal is back now. And it got popped. So it's pretty even. All of a sudden, we're at a pretty much starting round. Man, again, Lost Souls coming out of Conjugates. This guy, like... it's like the... I don't know. I was going to make a football analogy. Who cares? This guy hits everything. Every guy you can think of that hits everything, it's this guy right now. It's Conjugates with those Lost Souls. He's making every single one of them count, and they're all found. Oh, the PB to meat hook to PB. Just getting health falling off the map.
To me, really, it's mad just how long this round has been going on for and how healthy they all are, all things considered. The amount of damage that gets constantly dished out, but it does come down to really chaining these blocks together, making sure that you can't just completely combo them.
I mean, we're at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and if... He's getting a little stack back, as I was going to say. It's getting to the point now where they might do the final push on Zan, and they're doing a pretty good job of doing damage, but he's still restacking. They didn't have any loot block left, so now he's at a bit of an advantage in the way that he's using his verticality. He's using the meat hook. He's getting that carcass, the annoying carcass off of the map. That's one less shield he has to jump over, but his HP is low. He's only got 55. Okay, he's restacking. My God, he does it so fast, it's hard to even pay attention to it.
It is incredibly hard to keep up with this if you haven't seen Zan play very often. The amount of speed that all of these players actually, not just Zan in particular. But here's the big thing though, with Conjugates being down and now Kroniid having to go back to this runaway game again, now they're separated. Yeah, this really is an advantage for him, and can he chase it?
Oh my God, I cannot believe he clutched that out as hard as he did. He turned that completely in his favor from being basically pushed back 2 or 3 times in that round. This is it, Ketchup. This is the final round of the finals.
Final round. That's where we're at.
Final. Oh my God, fight.
But this
Let's go.
I mean, I can't really say I'm crazy surprised. This is the most dominant demons, the most dominant Slayer. I think he did an entire 360 around that tower just now, and look at the health. What? He just deleted the health.
Oh my God.
And now with barely any of it left. A nice little meat hook. Clearing out the fodder. You have to get rid of it. Do not let yourself get blocked here. And they loot blocked there. I mean, he set a bunch of them on fire. Try and deny a lot of that armor. And now Conjugate's in big trouble. I'm
surprised he's still alive, to be honest. I thought he was going to get poked a second ago.
That 1-1-1.
He still might.
Well, he's not using Team Heal. I think he's actually going to wait to see if he goes down, and he can use it at a more vital point. Or he's going to wait for Kroniid to take more damage. Confident he's not going to take much damage. I mean, he's making himself hard to see and hard to pin down.
Yeah. Oh, but look at his HP. He's nothing. Oh God, there it is. Okay, he's got a chance. He's got a chance now. Kroniid's doing his push.
That one ballista shot was all it took for them to go right Team Heal, and now the armor is up. He has to be a little bit aggressive and make the most out of this armor. Can't allow Zan to just disengage. Here comes the glory kill, the invincibility that we talked about earlier, and the range damage absolutely coming through. And the haste is going to let him out of the hazard really quickly. Both hazards down. Zan will know that, and he's going to probably be more aggressive now if he has a good push.
They've got great positioning, though. I love the way that they stay together and they know exactly when to separate, create enough space to, basically not be a single target for any of those crazy Arbalest shots or any of those rocket launcher shots. But Kroniid's not looking, he's looking a little worse for wear here. He's not exactly where he wants to be with HP. Even if he has armored up, he's not going to have enough to really face tank too much. And the restack is real. Zan is just absolutely focusing on that right now until he's waiting for that shield to go down. Is he going to do it? Okay. Going full aggro, but he's got shield, so he's looking kind of okay, except for now when he's basically a ballista shot away. It did.
Now the question is, can he survive long enough for his team heal to come back? Because they don't team heal at the same time, so there are slightly different respawn timings on the two of them. Speaking of which, actually, we haven't got to wait long for Conjugates one to come back. Looks like Kroniid's still incredibly tender, but Zan weak himself, and they're going to try and pepper down that range damage. This could be a finish either way, actually.
I mean, Kroniid, oh God. I'm so worried for Kroniid right now. He's doing a really good job. Oh, he's caught out. He's got his armored up.
He waits until he gets seen.
Okay,
I like it.
Okay.
Either he waited until he got seen, or he just got it by the time he saw him.
Oh my god!
And actually, on that note, Conjugates will be back too.
The
I just noticed Conjugates will
survivability.
be ready.
And Zan's out of super shotgun ammo, so he's looking for some fodder to get the chainsaw on. First
Tokyo,
one's blocked.
team heal, and they're blocking his loot. He's got
the
no ammo.
The stack is real. The stack is real,
Could be game
bro.
over.
Oh my god.
Wait, the push comes out.
Oh, this is the 50. Oh! I still cannot believe the way that he can push back and stack the way he can. He's basically where he was, you know, 7 hits ago. Oh god,
Wait a
now
minute.
the stack is
Hazard's
getting bigger.
ready. His stack is getting bigger, but the hazards are ready to go.
True.
And here is the haste. The haste for Conjugates, the increased movement speed. He's going to use it. Oh, the hazards. Wait a minute, he's taking tons of damage. This is a really bad time to take that much damage. Kroniid's sitting in the hazard to try and survive, but he's going to go down. And with Conjugates as weak as he is, I'm thinking, Tokyo, this might be all she wrote. Conjugates, he has to just look at him.
Hide, bro. Hide. Oh my god.
How can he get it? No, he
my
can't
God.
survive that. Is going to be the Friday Night Fights Invitational final. Going to Zan at the last possible second. I mean, that was... I think we kind of need to just digest this a little bit because of just how much happened so quickly. But look, the reality is this was to decide the champion's champion because Kroniid and Conjugates have been the most dominant demons in this entire 2-month period of competitive play.
Yeah.
And Zan has been the most dominant Slayer by a mile, without question. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, and I think he absolutely proved it today, that Zan is the greatest Slayer in the world. And Kroniid and Conjugates are the best demons that you can possibly see. I really think that truly 100% that this was the highest level of battle mode. And I really hope everyone else was as entertained by that as I was, because that was sick.
Oh my god, I know. Like my face hurts from like smiling and like trying to put energy back into Conjugates in that last what felt like a minute. It was probably like 15 seconds because God, that was such a beautiful, beautiful match by all players involved. Like
every map was good. Every single one.
And again, it wasn't even like the setups were the same. Like such huge, crazy shout-outs go into both demon players of Conjugates and Kroniid because the way that they played so fluid to just adapt to every single situation, which, by the way, when you're playing against the greatest Slayer on Earth in battle mode, none other than, you know, Lord Zan, there's Lord Zan, there's Lord Kroniid, there's just, the names are getting long because there's Samas being dropped. Like, that is just top-level play. Like, the best part of battle mode, I think we can all agree, it's when you get those really sweaty pushes where you get those moments where it's like this could go either way, this could go either way. All the timing on the counters are going, and then it's like you're doing the cat and mouse of saying, am I gonna face this? Are we going 1v1? Am I gonna push back? Am I gonna try to restack? And then it's just like all of these things happening at once. It is just the most, oh God. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed at what I just saw. All right, so there was a little pause there. We had a bit of a technical difficulty on the audio, but now we are back, and Ketchup has started derobing. The matches were so sweaty and so crazy that he's literally taking layers of his clothes off. What's going on over there, Ketchup?
Excuse me, really bad time to inhale air, and it gets stuck a little bit as this happens. Full transparency, there were a few audio hiccups on the original video, and for the sake of us really wanting to celebrate the players, and what's really important is to give them the opportunity to do their end of stream shout outs, to thank people, the community, whatever it might be. We have redone it, and it's a lot hotter in the UK than it was when we originally recorded that. So there's no way I'm wearing a leather jacket 2 days in a row. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. But that does mean we are going to bring our 3 players in and once more have a chat with them.
That's right. So without further ado, with the powers of Quakecon at home, no matter where this is being recorded, it will be in 3, 2, 1, booing in the boys. And there we have them. Everybody can be seen. Everybody can heard. There's a bit of a shout out that has to go out to Kroniid Conjugates, who, as far as I know, no one in the world has ever seen live on the broadcast. So first of all, welcome, you handsome bastards. Of course, Zan is coming back, being, nothing less than the top Slayer now confirmed in the world. Welcome, everyone. And I'm going to start with you, Zan. Okay, so Everyone's been through a lot this series, but Slayers in particular, with a lot of updates, a lot of things that went on throughout this whole process, all these matches. I think the Slayer is inarguably potentially had the most to adjust to, but seemingly with all of those adjustments, it didn't really change your win rate that much. I think a total of 6 rounds before the finals you had dropped. So how did you do it? How did you stay so consistently at the top as a Slayer?
Obviously, it was a shock to the system at face value with any change that was done, Demon or Slayer alike, and I basically took what was given to me, what I had access to, and I played around with stuff and just see what I can do as an alternative. And if I was damping down for aggression, I got to make up for it by being more tactical, etc. So it ultimately comes down to I need to know what they've toned down and where I can compensate that somewhere. So it's just playing more carefully where it needs to be played more carefully.
How has the experience been playing against so many different demons? I know across the period of Friday night fights, especially the Invitational, there has been a few different balance changes that have taken place. So there have been different comps, different lineups, different strats, and I definitely think it's safe to say the three of you have been able to roll with the punches a lot more consistently. That's why you are the top of the food chain in that respect. But when it comes to the different demons that you've had to go against, what kind of preparation have you had going into every single week?
Ultimately, just I guess basing it some formula of it, like whether it be pubs or scrims, that kind of stuff, and then sort of going to the drawing board and seeing what I feel like is the most consistent way for me to deal with it. So there will be comps where I feel like I need to be on the defensive and I need to survive a very specific push. And if I can survive it, I can take the win. And there's other comps out there where it requires me to be the aggressor. And if I don't kill a specific player demon, then generally it was bad for me. So it can go, like the switch up depending on the comp is very, very versatile. Like depending on what the comps I fight, it could end very quick. It can take a long time to do. Like very mix and matched. This tournament was, so it was very interesting.
For sure. And so on the demon side, Kroniid Conjugates, the very same is obviously true for you guys, and I know that you guys in particular scrimmed Zan a lot. So what I want to know is, first of all, how did you guys do what you do, which is go in the lab, put on your lab coats, be the scientist that you are, redefine, retool, completely change the metas every time as you guys have in this tournament, but also for this last preparation, you guys just played Zan last week, right before the last finals. So what was your strategy going in specifically with this week and what you guys try to bring differently?
So it's really interesting with how the patch especially made things change between week 7 and the finals, because in week 7 one of the best comps we had was Archvile Revenant and Cat. Sorry for that.
Full screen wipe. Dude, I need that
Amazing.
transition. How do I get that transition in OBS? That's amazing.
Anyways,
You gotta be ready for anything. These demon guys are ready for anything.
all right. So
Cat.
This bit's staying in, by the way. This bit is staying in.
of course, cats are the best.
Oh god, that's good.
So Archvile Revenant was one of our main comps, and it's more of an opportunist comp in the sense where we're not as aggressively pushing and we're biding our time while still trying to put some level of pressure on Zan with our AI. And in week 7, it was actually the only comp that we beat Zan with. And when we did Marauder Pain Elemental in week 7, he kind of just went against it pretty well. He got 3-1 on both of them, and then the Archvile Revenant, we beat him 3-1 using the opportunist kind of playstyle. And then we were like, all right, so that was really strong against Zan. We'll try it again in the finals. And going into that first map, we got completely slaughtered on it. Honestly, I'd say it was pure luck that we even got around, just because I had a wall that put him against a Kako Demon. But the increase in DPS of the Slayer definitely caught us off guard with that and made it so that that didn't quite work anymore. And so going off of that, we immediately switched back to Marauder Pain Elemental, and we realized that we needed to apply as much pressure as we could in order to contest with him. And we especially realized this on round 3 of Torment, because the first two we were playing a bit more opportunistic, as me and Conj normally would do, because we're defensive players who try to just look out for mistakes, punish them. And we realized that every second that passes, we could basically lose over half our health if he just catches us around a corner. And so we need to make something happen, and we need to make it happen fast. So we just stay hidden, we get into position, and at the same moment, we just dive onto Zan, where Conj just tries to take up as much of his screen as possible with the shield. I'm on his back with the shotgun. It's just make something happen, make it happen fast, and it worked pretty well for something that we came up with on the fly, as we managed to make it go as far as it did. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, in that last map 5, which already, first of all, going to map 5 after being, like you said, 3-1, and if that one was like a lucky squeaky round, like I'm gonna go to Conjugates, who was the last demon on the map in map 5 when it was round game match finals. Like that's the deepest sigh I think we've all felt collectively. Yeah, like walk me through where you were at with that, because Kroniid so well just pointed out, you guys made those adjustments where you were able to buy your time, and at the same time, it felt like as the matches were going on, like in the beginning, you would try to like do pushes faster, and you're even getting more success in early rounds, which is way harder for demons. So with the fact that no power upgrades. So walk me through that last round and kind of just like when you switched and went to the pain elemental, like where were your guys' heads at, and then what was in that final map, in that final round, like what was optimal strategy and what could have gone better other than just Zan missing shots, obviously, because he was hitting pretty much everything.
Yeah, especially on the Tundra map. Since we won the first round, we were feeling a bit confident, or at least I was, of course, because like winning round 1 against the Slayer is often really hard to do. But we pulled it off, luckily, and started continuing from there. We've always had good games against Zan on Tundra. We'd also gone back and forth, so we know we could do it, definitely. We have done this before on a previous patches where the quick switching was as fast as it is now. So we just needed to keep doing that. But man, Zan is a beast when it comes to recovery. Even though we're hitting with almost everything, he's just jumping out, slingshotting across the map, and just killing AI so fast. So it's very hard to deal with. Just keeping tracking him and just hitting him with the left clicks and everything. So really good job to him. But I also I felt like I almost did my absolute best I could have done on Tundra. It was really good. So really well played to Zan for pulling that win off. We almost had him a couple of times there in the last round. So really well played.
I'm glad that the three of you were the players at the end of it, because ultimately this kind of show, you know, all we want to do on Friday Night Fights is showcase the best battle mode talent that the community has to offer. And you know, I do think thanks to the Invitational, it's been a really good experience to answer that question of who is the most dominant. And this was a battle of champions, you know, a champion's champion in that respect. And I guess in light of Friday Night Fights and the Invitational, starting with you, Kroniid, how has it felt to be a little bit more competitive with the game? You know, I know it goes from general matchmaking to a set where now you're playing to a score. It's every single week. You got to do some preparation, studying the matchup maybe. How different has the experience been for all three of you? And I guess starting with Kroniid for this one.
it's been really interesting because especially for me, this is the first like form of competition I've ever been in. Like as I've mentioned before, I've like played like somewhat competitively in games like Elder Scrolls Online, but not ever in a tournament, just like on the ranked ladder. And so to be in these matches with high stakes where it's like what happens in this like next hour just determines results, it was really nerve-wracking for me at first. Like a lot of my first matches, even though we were the clear favorites, I was really, really nervous. And especially going against Kyle in week 4, I was absolutely terrified at one point because on Penance, he had us down 2-0. And I was like, we're about to get 3-0'd and this could literally ruin everything. And I basically just went on autopilot out of being that nervous. We managed to bring it back and at least get 2 rounds in that game. But it was definitely a really good lesson on how to deal with my nerves in a game, because like I had to go through that at some point in order to
Yeah.
be able to deal with it again. And as it went on, I definitely got way better with the nerves. And strangely, when it came to the finals specifically, despite the fact that that was the match that had like the most stakes, I just felt completely calm all the way through, even when we were getting slaughtered. I have no idea why, but I'm thankful
That's
for
great.
it.
It's been really fun, a really cool experience to play this competitively. I have experienced playing games competitively before, like, so this tournament was not like completely new. I have been playing every week. Like there was a tournament every Sunday for the game I played back then, so it's not that different. So I feel like my nerves have pretty much calmed down at that point. I get a little bit nervous right before the match, but during when we play, usually I calm down. So in that way, regard, I've been doing really well, and it's been really fun, like competing in games again. Actually, I really do enjoy it.
I'm glad to hear it, man. Glad to
Yeah.
hear it. And like I said, we've said before, you're no stranger to this kind of asymmetric multiplayer. So I think
No,
you fit it like a glove in that respect. But Zan, you come from an arena FPS background. How has that competitive experience been applying those fundamentals to Doom Eternal?
It translates a bit more than most people may realize with the whole, you keep track of cooldowns of a demon rather than keeping track of the cooldown of a item pickup. So it kind of translates a bit over to Doom in its own way. It felt real comfortable coming into this, really did, because I do love the ability that Doom allows you to be aggressive, but there's also the room for tactical play as well. So I do. Everything that I could take from Quake, I was able to take into Doom, I felt. So I was really happy to come into Doom Eternal and be able to show what I could show, I guess, is the way to put it.
And you more than did that, mate. Like as not just a commentator, but a general, super fan of Doom, right? It was exactly the complete package that I think we all wanted to see. So I want to thank all three of you for joining us, not only for tonight and today, but and this extra portion. Thanks for your time on this. But your time really brings me on to the next portion, and this is something that we always want to celebrate with the players of Friday Night Fights, how the show doesn't exist without your gameplay. And this is a really important final section, the opportunity to give some shout outs and some thanks to anyone or whatever it might be that you might want to do. We'll start with you, Zan. Do you have any end of show and end of tournament series shout outs that you want to give?
Keep it short and sweet. I've got a shout out for the casters, obviously, because without the casters, this wouldn't be as awesome as it does or hype as it is without them. So thank you guys for that. You're awesome.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure.
Shout out for id for making such an awesome game and continuing to support such an awesome game. Always nice to know, hearing from them, hanging out with them, anything. Just it's unheard of. So it's always awesome to have that happen. Thanks to my Kroniid Conjugates for being the opponents they are. Pain Elemental being a pain in the ass to catch, and Kroniid being a sly little devil to try and catch, especially around Tundra Tower. So, been a great scrimming against them, practicing. I don't think without them I wouldn't be at the caliber I can pump out when in this game. So thanks to them as well. Spicy Discord, obviously, we all heard that. But yeah, Spicy Discord, them. Shout out to my younger sister and my father, because I knew they were watching at the time, and most of my family have been supporting me, giving me more support and shit. So yeah, thanks to them as well, and a very special one to Dude Hell Yeah, just an awesome guy in general. I've been hanging out with him a bit, one-on-one talks, and yeah, I've come to enjoy some games in and out of Doom with him over the past couple of weeks. So yeah, just wanted to give him one out. He's an awesome dude. But that's it for me.
Hell yeah, that's the answer to that one. No, thank you very much. And Kroniid, you have quite the list. Take as much time as you need, but lay it on us, mate.
All right, so first, I would like to shout out my cat for trying to walk across my keyboard again just now for the past minute and making his ultimate debut a little earlier on when I was trying to talk. Besides that, I'd like to shout out Zen for being the legendary opponent and absolute machine he is, because me and Conj definitely wouldn't be where we are now if it wasn't for the fact we've played like hundreds of games against him in the past, even though we haven't done it as much recently due to the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to shout out Conjugates for being an amazing partner, because without him, like, I don't think I would have gone this far. I rely on him a lot. I'd like to shout out for Matrix for getting me into the competitive scene of battle mode. As without him, I don't think I'd really have even tried to be competitive with this game, because I just thought of myself as any other player until I really started to experience the competitive side against him. I'd like to shout out a streamer named Bulu for having me get this game in the first place, because I'd watched his stream and I saw him playing this, and I was like, I need to get this, and that's the literal reason for how I'm even here in the first place. So
Bulu.
props
Yeah.
for him, for making this happen. He plays a lot of Bethesda games.
That's
But
awesome.
I'd like to shout out Dude Hell Yeah and Zero Rex for being the demon directors of the Spicy Demons Discord and putting way more effort into this whole battle mode community than anyone, because like the amount of time and sweat they put into battle mode and the community and making sure it's positive and promoting each other is just like unrivaled by anyone. I'd like to shout out Kevin for being our community cat patrol. He's Kevin. I'd like to shout out Fallback and Ronan for making us sweat the entire tournament, because it's very possible that they could have been here instead of us had things just gone slightly differently throughout the tournament bracket. And I'd especially like to shout out Ronan for what he does to the console community.
Yep.
As he's like the main content creator for Xbox and PlayStation when it comes to battle mode. He's been casting games on their platform, and he's definitely giving them more of the spotlight that they deserve. I'd like to shout out Kyle, Tesla, and Bread for being our main scrim partners throughout the tournament, as they definitely helped us prepare for like exactly what we needed on each specific week. And all three of them were getting games off of us, making us sweat, so it was great. And I'd like to shout out Miss Heartbeat for being the queen of all slayers. I'd like to shout out the coaches and moderators of the Spicy Demons Discord for their contributions, as without them, Spicy would probably be a lot more chaotic. I'd like to shout out my parents for leaving me alone whenever I've had my matches, or like recording this, for example, where they've been very respectful with like not barging into the room when I'm trying to focus. I'd like to shout out my family, friends, and coworkers who have all been supporting me throughout this and giving me like endless words of encouragement. I'd like to shout out you two, Ketchup and Tokyo, for even making Friday Night Fights a thing, because the
problemo.
amount of work you have to put into this is insane. Like I know Ketchup spent like an entire day editing in order to make this finals happen.
Worth it.
Yep. And lastly, but most certainly not least, I'd like to shout out Hugo, Martin, Duggan, Fook, James, Ryan, and everyone else at id Software, because being privileged enough to have been able to interact with them in the past, like the amount of spirit and heart these guys put into this game, it's like absolutely amazing. Like when I talk to these guys, they're literally just like seeping ambition, and like this game, like I could just see it's gonna go so far with like how good they are. Like they're the best developers the game could have.
Totally. Well said.
Well, thank you very much for that one. And last but certainly not least, Conjugates.
Yes, first off, I'll just shout out Kroniid and Zan for being the absolute beast they are at this game, and also great friends and teammates and enemy and nemesis, I guess.
I like how you're like enemy. You're like, no, nemesis sounds nicer. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Kroniid has been a really good teammate. He's been the analytical part of us. He's always been trying to strategize the best thing, like how do we beat this, how do we do that. So that's been awesome, and so it's definitely been a big help, and just also part of the reason why we're here. Big part. And also San for being a beast, a big juicer. in the community. And also shout out to the spicy discords and all the juicers in there. And AFAM and Simplo for beer gang. And the File Phil for the best beard.
#1 best beard.
Yeah, and also a big shout out to my parents at home here watching. Hello, hello. And my friends Jakob, Andreas och Asker. Tjena mors. Ha det bra.
Hell yeah.
Yes, that's all.
Absolutely wonderful. And I guess one final thank you to all three of you for playing in this, and major shout outs to every player that was involved in the Invitational in general. It's like I've said many times before, the show, we can do the show portion, but the reality is without the gameplay, it doesn't exist. So it's due to the grinding and the hard work and the dedication from you folks that the show's even allowed to be there. So thank you very much for that. Congratulations for a really enjoyable grand finals for Quakecon at home, and it has been a pleasure.
Absolutely. And G's, because there was 5 double G's necessary because you guys put us through it for the drama. So thank you guys so much. We hope to see you guys soon. All right, catch up. Well, that is the finals for the Invitational. I cannot believe we are already here. It feels like we just started this yesterday, and yet we've been doing it for as long as the game has been out, nearly. We finally got to the point where we took this from just a community broadcast, we have all the most passionate players, to narrowing it down to the most sweatiest, juiciest juicers, where everyone can actually get into that tournament structure and spirit and mood. And we did it. And I mean, I just want to say to you, thank you, because I couldn't have done it with anybody else. And I appreciate all the time and energy you put into this, because it is for you guys that we do this. So we love you guys. We thank you guys for all of the amazing emotes we've seen in chat, for all of the encouragement we've seen online to both ourselves and most importantly to the players. Again, every single player that's been in this tournament, you guys are the best. We're so proud of you guys. We're so happy to be able to host a tournament like this with the caliber of players inside and outside of the game as you guys.
It's a pleasure, isn't it, to be able to watch these players that are super dedicated, super hardcore. We love battle mode. It's why we do the show. It's why we do what we do. We love Doom, not even just battle mode, but Doom in general, whatever may come next. Super excited for Invasion, and there's a lot of stuff to look forward to in the pipeline, I suppose, with the announcement of the upcoming DLC, which did have its teaser trailer. That
Sure
was
did.
a real treat to dive into. There's all kinds of speculation taking place with that now. And there's plenty of stuff to sink our teeth into in the future. So
It's true.
stay tuned. Stay tuned for a good future of Doom, I imagine, and I will see everybody in the battle mode arena.
We'll see you guys soon, and we will leave you with none other than just the one master champion, grand finals champion of Doom Eternal's battle mode from the Friday Night Fights Invitational, Zan. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.